Welcome to that session about the maintenance planner and the new system assistant functionality. We will take the next half hour to present you the current status, what is new in the maintenance planner and what is the outlook for new features to come, and then we'll take the time for Q&A. Let's proceed to the first slide. Basically, what we do with the maintenance planner is that we extend it with a functionality that currently is only available in that way in the Solution Manager. The Solution Manager hosts a capability which is called System Recommendations, and System Recommendations is broadly used. And with the announced end of maintenance for the Solution Manager in 27 and extended to 2030, we thought last year about where a functionality like that would be best put, and we developed in parallel to the still existing functionality in the Solution Manager something we call the System Assistant. The mission statement of the System Assistant is basically to give you as a customer the option or the ability to keep your systems up to date by indicating which SAP nodes are the right ones to install, and then in the future to give smart recommendations around system maintenance. When we go to the next slide, we see that the home for that functionality we decided to be the maintenance planner. That's for good reason, because the SAP maintenance planner, especially in the new cloud version, is the place to maintain your system landscape. When we look at the key features we were introducing, please go ahead. We focused on a few things that you might know from system recommendations, whereby we had a holistic look at what is most relevant for customers, and therefore decided for the initial version for the following capabilities. The first is the tailored recommendations. That's something you should know. Basically, you have your system landscape and the system assistant, which you find in the maintenance planner, which you see on the right-hand side, that view recommended nodes will provide you with tailored recommendations. Tailored means that the level of the maintenance level of your system is considered, meaning that only nodes are being shown which are not at your current system, which are relevant for it. Secondly, there will be filters, so there are filters available and sorting mechanisms. You can filter by different node types, and you can sort by different parameters. We will see that in a demo in a second. Number 3 is that we will focus on the node implementation status, because that's key from customer feedback we heard so far. And there's a functionality we will also look into where it's possible to set a specific status for a node to indicate if a node is relevant for a system landscape or a particular system. And that will be able, even overarching, not customer or user specific, but visible for everything, for all people using the maintenance planner. Plus there will be a log, but we'll look into that in a few minutes. The next thing is that all the nodes that are shown are those with an automatic correction instructions. This is systemic topic, so we look into those that can be implemented on your system. Accordingly, those that are not there yet, those that are consulting nodes or other that are not in scope of this of the maintenance planner. Good. Now, not all of the node categories are covered. We started with the most relevant ones. You see the list here. So we cover security nodes, hot news, performance relevant nodes, legal change nodes, and license auditing nodes. We know there are more types. We also know that there are more system types, but that's exactly where we come at the end of that session, is where the roadmap will lead us, which direction we will go with the maintenance planner and with the system assistant in there. But I would say let's first have a look at the live demo. We have Romy Sachse from product support here in the meeting as well. Romy, I hand over to you for a live demo of the new maintenance planner and the system assistant.
Thank you very much, Wilhelm. So hello and welcome. I will show you the live part of the session. You can already see that I am logged on to the maintenance planner. You can do this with your normal S user you are used to do. For this session, I am using a test landscape with test data only. So first of all, what we are doing here and what we see, we go to these few recommended nodes tile here, and we just start it via clicking on it. And on the next slide, I will show you the UI and the overview of the UI. So let's see, it's loading a little bit slow. I will just refresh it because maybe I got a timeout nevertheless in the background while I was doing this and waiting for the session to start. As you can see, we are doing this with live data, so let's give it another try. Okay, now, so let's see. Here you have an overview of all the systems you have in your maintenance planner. You get a list. It is in generally not sorted at all, but you can sort it. You have your system SID and a type. You have a system number, which helps you to identify the system. A customer number, which is sort of helpful when you are a CCC or a value-added reseller and you need to know this kind of information. You have the data source, which is quite helpful in order to identify from which system this data has been pushed to SAP site. You have a leading product for further information and maybe clarification which system you are looking for, as well as a product version. The system role, we have the normal roles like test, production, development, a transport domain, whether this is available information on our sites. And we also have a last sync date here, which tells you how recent the data is you see here. This list can be sorted, this list can be filtered. We provided some general filter options here already. So, for example, we can already filter for a system role. You can have landscapes here and set a filter on landscapes. These landscapes are used, for example, to build your whole, let's say, an ECC landscape. You have a test system, a dev system, a QA system, and a prod system, and you would like to combine them. This can be done in these kind of landscapes. You can also select these here. I can show this to you later. Further filter can be found here in the small little filter button. You will have every column available as a filter. Like you could filter for a system type. I would like just when you are just interested on your ABAP systems, for example, or when you are just interested in everything you have as a solution manager, you can just filter here. In addition to that, you have the possibility also to sort. So you can sort it downwards after, so alphabetically or numerically. You can have different sorting options here, like I would like to see my first system with letter A at the top or something like that. And you can also group them. Okay, so for this demo, I would like to show you now the whole list again, and I would like to see one calculation of a node for an S4 system. So you have here also a search bar, which you can use when you know the SID correct and so on. You can also search, or if you know parts of the SIDs, you can use it. So I am clicking here on the first button, mark the system. You see it now here in the bottom that it is selected. And I switch to the calculated nodes button on the right side and I click on it. This is now done with the live data we have for this system at that point in time in our backend. And you will get the list of all the nodes which can be implemented in that system. So you have, again, an overview here at the top. You have all the results. You have some predefined filters, as Wilhelm mentioned already. we have security notes, we have hot news, we have performance relevant changes and legal notes. You have your SID, you have a component here, you can see the node number. By clicking on the link, you will get directly to the node. It is displayed in the Launchpad, so you can also see the content of the node. You also have further information which can be relevant for you, when it was released, or is it the medium priority, or something like that. This list can also be sorted. So you have, again, the possibility, if you would have selected more than one system, to select for a system. You can select for components because you know, okay, I would really like to have everything installed here, or I have a problem with one application and I would like to see which nodes are relevant with this application. You can also use the filter here you see for this particular application. This one here, there is no hot news. So this is another feature here. These filters are dependent on each other. So when I click here again on all, I will then see now only my security nodes and now my hot news. If I would like to go back to all results, I will go here and here, and I get my full list of 2,400 results back. There is also a very nice possibility to export this information here. Therefore, you have a small button here. It gives you a list in Excel. What I would like to mention here for this, depending on the filters you set. So when I would just set all my security nodes and I will now export this, I will only get a result of 23 nodes in this Excel. See if I open the right one and whether you can see it, hopefully. Yeah. Okay. So that is generally first impression from the UI. Back to you, Willem.
Thanks, Romy. No, a good presentation. Now we have seen how it basically works. We all know that just recently there was an update, a good first update of this capability. When we look at the slide, and maybe you just go ahead with the features that were added, there's two main things. One is about the processing status, and I think we will have the chance to look at that in the demo too. So what was added is the processing status for nodes. We have seen in your demo that the maintenance planner shows those nodes that are not implemented. But of course, customers usually want that there's an ability to review the node and then say, okay, this is applicable or not applicable according to my preferences, technical conditions, and other reasons. So this option we added, we have with that, there's a status, but there's more. So when we have this status, you can filter for it, and there's, and we'll come to that too in the demo, a possibility to include that in internal workflows, meaning an API where the status information can be read. Furthermore, there were new system types introduced, which started with Java, and accordingly, Java nodes, can be shown now too. This is the last point in this update. So the coverage for Java system and system recommendations for Java nodes has been added. And I would say we can now do another demo. Romy, if you can show us this, I would particularly be interested in the processing status. So please show us how this can be activated by customers, how this can be used, and then I think we should briefly talk about potential ways to integrate that into internal workflows.
Okay, yes, I can do that. So you can see the maintenance planner back again here in the screen. In order to see what is the new stuff, you will have to activate it. And that's why you need to click on your logged on user here at the top. You will go to personalize and you will switch to nodes recommendation. And then you will set the attribute change processing status. When I do so, I click save and the page asks me to refresh. I will do yes. And now I get again my page here with all of my systems. Let's do it in a way that we will select more than one system. Let's have so we can see a little bit more the filters. Let's go with the product version. I would like to see solution managers now. And I will select something which is more recent, SM1, SM3, and SM6. Let's give it a try. You see here, I've selected them at the top. You have now the list here at the bottom. And I press again on Calculate Notes. And now you will already see that there was a change in the UI. So we got another column here, which is called Processing Status. This is the status Wilhelm was talking about. So again, you have the overview here. We have 154 results. You have your filters. You have these columns here. And so maybe let's get into it and say, I would like to have a deeper check on this node. It's on a component where my solution manager is not operating. And I am the administrator and I can decide that this node is not relevant. So I will just click on this very small button here. And then I can change the processing status. I have the possibility to choose between in progress, not relevant, and transferring. As I said, this is not relevant for me, so I will set the status to not relevant and say checked, not relevant. And then I will save it. So the status has been changed. What it is necessary to mention here that everybody who has access to these systems in the maintenance planner will see the same status. So this is not user dependent what you see. This is a setting for everything. You can revert this, of course, but if you are interested, for example, who has made this setting, you can click on the small arrow here and you will get to the log. So it's more more information here. And on the second tab, there is the log. And in the log, you will see who has made the change in this particular system node entry. This is quite helpful if you have more people working on one particular system tracks in order to do jobs and maintenance of nodes. Okay, so we can go back here. You can also, as I selected several systems, maybe I can show you now these grouping stuff. And let's group for node numbers. This is sometimes very helpful if you have a whole system landscape and you would like to know which nodes is necessary to be implemented in all of your systems, for example. Good. As you can also see, we had at the beginning here the possibility to see Java. Let's see if I will deselect this now. I have several possibilities to do so. I can just declick here, or I can do this there, and then I will get back to all of my product versions. And then I would like to filter for system type Java. And I will go OK. And now I will see every of the Java systems. I will just select, I don't know, some of them. And let's see if we get some nodes recommended already here. Calculate nodes. Yes, this is a message you can see. In general, it means that for this particular system, some of the data might not be up to date and could not be read or calculated, which means you would need to check whether the data you have in the maintenance planner is complete. Nevertheless, for all the other systems, it already showed me that we have recommended SAP nodes for the Javas. And now I can do here the same. I have my processing status and I can maintain it. I can filter it for hot news, for corrections, for security in that case. So that it's pretty nice thing that you have already here a good idea. Maybe we come to the next status. This is the transferring status. Wilhelm was talking about with regards to the API. So maybe Wilhelm, you would like to add here something for the API.
So basically, it's that we started with as pilot release having this API. So we first do some investigations with selected customers that were requesting this kind of workflow, but we thought that this is a feature that might be relevant for more customers to use. The background is that with this status, as Romy was showing, we can also trigger an event or trigger an activity in the API, meaning that if I would imagine I have this list and now would like to have a workflow where I take this node and create, for example, an internal ticket for further processing, then the API allows to read the status. In that case, when I put the node to transferring, that could be read, and all the nodes that were set to transferring to be used or to be brought into that kind of internal workflow could then be read. Node data and information can be taken over, ticket can be created, whatever workflow is planned internally can be executed. And then as a response after that workflow, that status can be changed. And if we look at the drop down for the selected status, can we go to this again? So we have this in progress and not relevant and transferring. So we could imagine after reading the tickets from transferring and processing them, we would like to set the status to in process. And that could then be done not only manually, which can make sense for a manual workflow, but also automatically via the API. So the workflow that would then be in progress after the API, by the API would set that status, and every user in the maintenance planner would see that change. Furthermore, in the log, that Romy, I think you showed the log, would that be reflected too? So any change we do would then be visible in the log as well. So with this, you have a full-blown integration into any kind of internal workflows you might have active in your company. One note to this is that some people ask why there is no status of completed or implemented, something like that. At the moment, we thought pretty straightforward, meaning that every node, Romy was showing that is currently displayed is per se, and we can stay with this status. So Romy, maybe you should open that again. We look at that. I was trying to bridge that. So let me finish that sentence. So every change, let's maybe first go to that here.
Yeah, it's still, I think it's loading.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So thanks for showing that log. So one addition to, you see, now it's waiting. It wants me to finish my first sentence. Yeah, so every node that is shown in the maintenance planner here in the system assistant is per se relevant for the system. Accordingly, everything that is not shown is more or less completed, not relevant, or already implemented. However, we got customer requests to make this more visible in one of our last user group sessions. So that's something we thought we might add. At the moment, as said, the status are limited to that, what we can see. Everything else is either not relevant or already on one of your systems. Now, the status log you show here, Romy, indicates clearly that the status was changed, now in that case manually, but you can imagine if you would do that via workflow, that would be log 2, and we would see here a change by the relevant program at the relevant time. Good. I think with this, Romy, we are through with the main features of the maintenance planner and this functionality.
Yes.
And we can add here that we want, with this new capability, to listen to you customers, specifically in the coming months. We want to build the roadmap for further enhancements together with you. And therefore, there's an active call for input. In that presentation, you will find my and Romy's email address. So feel free to reach out to us If there's anything you consider to be relevant, where you say that is definitely missing, that should be added, let us know. Furthermore, for all German customers and partners, we have an agreement with the DSAG, the Arbeitsgruppe around ALM, that there will be a survey too. So we will collect via the Arbeitsgruppe ALM also input for the maintenance plan in this regard. This will happen within the coming weeks. And there will be an additional session offered via DSAG about the maintenance planner and the system assistant functionality. So I think there's a lot of options to learn more and specifically to give input. And that's what we would like to hear from you. So we are really open. We collected already a few things. I think we can say that only the last sessions were pretty insightful, where the journey has to go. But that's basically where we are. And yeah, we are looking for a good and exciting future with the maintenance planner and the system assistant. Okay, and I think with this, we close the session. And thank you for listening, and have a nice day, and goodbye.